Hello, beautiful people. So I have an intuitive message for you, and it is from your soul. Your soul is telling you to be bigger. Your soul is saying that you are ready to be bigger and that you are still playing too small. Now, I'm sensing this energy that you have definitely outgrown. So you've definitely expanded out of your comfort zone and have definitely become bigger, right? But there's still, I feel like, something that is holding you back from stepping into that full next level version of yourself, that full next level identity, that full next level life. And I feel like you've had these repeating messages. They come up all the time, right? So I feel like they come up maybe every couple weeks or couple months, and it's really, really strong during that time. And then you're ready to take action and you're ready to make changes in your life and you're ready to start embodying this person more, maybe make another step forward, another move. But then the energy kind of dies a little bit and it gets more subdued. And then you kind of start getting back to your comfort zone, maybe start being okay with where you are. I was gonna comment because in my previous video I literally talked about that car that you just heard outside. If you heard the poof poof poof, and it was just like, why? Anyway, so I feel like maybe you start to get back into your comfort zone and just start to be okay with, let's say, the life that you're living, or be okay with where you're at or who you are. And I'm not saying not to be okay with that. Totally love and accept yourself for where you're at in your life right now and be grateful for your life and what you have. But there's an undeniable truth inside of you that says you're meant for more, or you can be something else. You can have your dreams come true. You can be this version of yourself that you've always dreamed. And I know that you feel it. I know that your soul reminds you and knocks on the door every 2 to 3 weeks to months, okay, reminding you that this is where you need to be, this is where you need to go. And so the message that I'm getting is that you are ready. It is time for you to be bigger. It is time for you to upgrade. It is time for you to make one more step towards that version of yourself. Whatever that means for you, whatever that step is for you, you're ready to go. And the advice that I'm hearing is that it doesn't have to be you go from 0 to 180, overnight. Okay, it's definitely something that I think you're gonna have to take baby steps with, because as you're moving more into this new reality, you're also facing a lot of fears, and you're also working through a lot of blocks and a lot of trauma and a lot of feelings of safety, where it doesn't feel safe to do those things, to be that person. And so you're slowly, pushing the limits of your own subconscious blocks, so that eventually you become that person. So you don't have to, make a huge step. But I feel like you've already made so many steps. And I do feel like there's this one final, kind of energy that you're being called to step into, that you're still teetering around, you're still scared, perhaps. And I did take notes because I did a little meditation before this video just to see what is coming through. And so I wrote things down. So let me just go through and just make sure I didn't miss anything, because I want to get to something. Okay, yeah. So there was this message of you're afraid of your own power and what this new version of you will require of you. Okay. But I felt like when I was channeling this message that you're afraid of your own power and who you're, whatever it is that you're meant to be, or who you're meant to be, and what that requires of you and how that requires for you to show up, whatever thoughts and visions you have around that a lot of them are based in fear. They're not true, and it's an illusion. It's your fear creating a false story of what that would require of you, and it's your worst fears that are being faced. And then so you think well, I can't do that, I won't be able to survive that, so you go back to playing small. But what I'm hearing is that that's just your ego trying to keep you small, trying to keep you safe, right? Your nervous system trying to keep you safe. It's outdated. It's an outdated system that you're trusting, and you're not trusting your intuition. Your intuition is really, really accurate and really clear, but subtle. Your ego's louder. So I think you give in to those fears and your ego. but I'm getting that everything is connected, okay? So somehow this is all connected, and so like your fears are connected to your power, and that you just need to trust and surrender to where your soul is taking you, and that where your soul is taking you does feel scary, and that it is in your biggest fear where your biggest power lies and lives. That was like a really, really important message that I want to get to in a second, but let me just go it kind of came in order, and I want to go in order because I feel like there's a reason for that. But something else I was getting is, can you allow yourself to be powerful? When you tune in, close your eyes. What does it feel like? Can you allow yourself to take up space? Can you allow yourself to be big? What does it feel like to take up space and be big and choose yourself and to be a little maybe selfish, right? Not like trying to please everybody and what they need and want, and just you kind of doing what you feel called to do for your soul, because whatever it is that you do for your soul is for your highest good, and whatever is for your highest good is for everybody else's highest good. That is just the truth of life. There is nothing that you would choose to do for yourself that's a soul desire that would be bad for anyone else involved. It's just fear that tells you that it's bad to be a certain way. So how would it feel to, own who you are, to own your wisdom, to own your light, your talents, your skills, your expertise, your knowledge? How would it feel to have authority over your life and over these things that you know, and showing up in that way, showing up big in that way? Perhaps this is about breaking some sort of a pattern that you've been really attached to, and or an addiction or something, and breaking away from that is, forcing you to step into this next level of your life, this next version of yourself, where it's totally different. It's a totally different you. It's a different dynamic with you and your partner maybe, or you and your friends, or you at work. You're showing up in different energy now. Your lifestyle might change because of this. And your soul's ready. Like, you're being called to let this thing go, this old version of you go, this old life go, and step into this new reality. But you're gonna have to embody that energy. Okay, so this is where I was getting the fear stuff. So I was like tuning in and seeing like, okay, so what does it feel like to be your most like powerful self? Like, what does it feel like to be your best, highest, like dream version of yourself? And, just close your eyes for a moment and just tune into that. Like, what does it feel like to be that person? And I was getting a really expansive energy. And it was really good. It felt really good. It felt really expansive. But then there was this fear that came up. Okay, I started to feel fear and anxiety. And I was like, wow, this feels really good, but it feels really scary. It feels really fucking scary to embody the best version of yourself. So the advice is to go into the fear. The advice is to go into the fear, because in the fear is where your power lies. That is where your most authentic version of yourself lives. So whatever it is that you're really scared of is actually where your soul is calling you to go, because that is where your biggest, most unique, authentic, soul-aligned version of you is. So fear is good in this case, and fear is not telling you that this isn't meant for you. Fear is telling you that this is where you need to go. And your soul will tell you every step of the way what it is that you need to do. So I feel like you don't have to overthink it. You don't have to be confused about or have this extra pressure around like, okay, it's time now, like I have to do this. There's no force around you shifting and transitioning into this new life, new version of yourself. It's honestly, whatever you feel called to do is what you should do. This is called inspired action, and this inspired action comes from a deeper place within your soul. And your soul knows what you're ready for, so it's not gonna push you to do something that it just like knows that you won't do and you're scared of or whatever. There's gonna be discomfort and there's gonna be some fear, but it's not going to, I feel like it's gonna be just what you need. So if you can do that and you can listen to your soul, I just saw 1111. If you can do that, and if you can just listen to your soul in those small moments of life where you're being called to do something a little bit bigger, or a little bit more vulnerable, or a little bit different, or a little bit scary. Whether this has to do with your own life, your career, your business, yourself, your friendships, your love life, your partnerships, there's just, you know, some, like, you're being called to break patterns. You're being called to break old patterns that have kept you small. And the only way to break these patterns is to make these small shifts in these opportunities that you're given from life, right? So you're given this opportunity, your old self would respond in this way, but your new self, the new self, you that's you know, wanting to be a different version, would respond in this way. How would this new self respond? And then you ask yourself, how would this best version of me respond to this situation? How would a person who knows their worth respond? How would a person who is successful respond? How would a person who is confident respond? You know, how would a person who loves herself or himself respond? And so you respond from that way, and that is exactly the shift. That is exactly the change. So the change isn't this huge, big, like going all in type of change. It's these small micro moments of life where you're being called to take inspired action and do things a little bit differently. And this is what's training your nervous system to feel safe, to be big and to take up space. You do it in micro steps. Some of you, you don't need micro steps. You're ready to go, and that's fine. It's whatever your soul calls you to do. Your soul will give you the nudges and tell you that it's time, and honor that. Honor your intuition, honor your soul, choose yourself, don't abandon yourself. And I feel like you're gonna see a really, really big shift in your life. Okay, you're gonna look back and be like, you're not gonna recognize your old self. You're not gonna even believe that you used to do the things you used to do, or that you used to respond in those types of ways. You're gonna look back on your relationships, years past. You're gonna look back on maybe what you did for a living. You're gonna look back on your friendships. You're gonna look back on your lifestyle. You're gonna look back on just your thought process. And it's gonna be unbelievable to you that that's how you were living, and that you were okay with that, you know? I feel like in a way it is this energy of settling, and it's like this, it's coming from this energy of playing small. And that's not to discredit your life or who you are, or like to not be grateful for, you know, everything that you have. It's not like looking down on it. It's just when you genuinely enter that new space of freedom and authenticity and empowerment, and like your soul aligned, it's like you can just see the difference, and the contrast becomes that much bigger, and you can just see how much you've grown, and you can see how much you needed that in order to become this. So you have an appreciation for it, but you know, you appreciate it and you have respect for it, and you've learned a lot of lessons from it, but you realize that was never you. You realize that was never truly authentically you. Like, it was you, a part of you, but it wasn't the whole of you, because you kept yourself suppressed. And so I feel like you're coming to life, you're blooming, and your new self is coming out to play. And that's exactly the message, is like, well, that's not the message, but it's part of the message, is that life is meant to be fun. Life is meant to be enjoyable. You're not meant to suffer and hate life and hate yourself and to have all of these struggles. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Okay, you're meant to enjoy the gifts of life, the blessings, the pleasures, you know? And I just feel like for a long time you haven't been able to enjoy life. It's like maybe you haven't allowed yourself to truly enjoy, or I don't know, there's just some energy around like guilt, even, of like doing what you love to do, or you know, just doing things that make you happy, you know? So I feel like that's gonna shift. I feel like that's gonna be shifting for you. And the message is that your soul is ready for you to be bigger, and that you're still playing small. It's time to be bigger, whatever that means for you, okay? Taking up more space, being more powerful, shining your light, speaking your truth, choosing yourself, having stronger boundaries, knowing your self-worth, like however that looks like for you, and whatever that means to embody that energy, right? But that is what you're being called to do. But also be easy on yourself. You don't have to like jump right in. Your soul will tell you exactly when you need to do what, and so you don't have to, you know, like you're not going to go into shutdown mode. But I am getting that you're meant to go towards your fear. You're meant to go towards that thing that is really scary for you. That's your guiding light. It's like, that's kind of like, if it feels really good but also scary, that's exactly where you're meant to go. So that's what I have for you. I hope that that resonated with you. If you'd like to follow me for more inspiration, wisdom, channeled messages, whatever you want to call these videos, I'm here for you. Please follow my channel, subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to work one-on-one with me, you can check out the links to that below. I do offer pre-recorded video tarot readings. I'm also a tarot reader. I have another channel for that, and I do one-on-one sessions as well. And we, you know, work through whatever situation you need to work through the help of tarot. So yes, thank you so much for being here. I'm sending you so much love. Bye.